Well, hello there, listener. My name is Matthew Renfro, host of The Fro Show, and you're listening to another great Four-Eyed Radio product. For more shows, check out foureyedradio.com.
Starfleet Escape Podcast. Prepare for launch in 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome to the Starfleet Escape Podcast on the Four-Eyed Radio Network, where we escape into the Star Trek universe. This is episode number 38 and is being recorded on April 17th, 2014. Today's topic, Alien Profile, Gorn. I'm Eric.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Aaron.
This episode is brought to you by Raven Designs, illustration and designs that fit your personality. For samples and inquiries, visit ravencruise.com.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
How's everyone doing today?
I'm pretty good. Glad it's almost Friday.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, I think we all are.
I am ready for the weekend and for Easter and all the fun times.
I'm actually volunteering for the Boston Marathon on Sunday, on Easter Sunday.
Boston Strong.
Yes.
Boston Strong. We have a Facebook cover photo and a Google Plus cover photo available for download that shows our support for Boston.
Which it just happened a year ago this week.
Yep, so, a year ago on the 15th.
I can't believe it's been a year already. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, it really does. And the Boston Marathon will be held this upcoming Monday.
Yep.
Hopefully everything goes well. We had a little snafu on the anniversary. I don't know if you heard about it.
Oh, I did. It was all over the news.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Some guy was being crazy, and he dropped a bag, and yeah, they blew it up. They also blew up a local news station's backpack that they left.
Oh, okay. Well, better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone stays Boston Strong, and I'm looking forward to seeing the marathon, I guess.
I know, me too.
On TV, or I don't know if they televise it.
Yep, it's televised. It's a Massachusetts state holiday called Patriots Day.
Oh, okay.
It has to do with the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
So we get that holiday, and Maine, I believe, also gets that holiday. I don't know if you knew this, but Maine used to be part of Massachusetts.
I did know that. History.
History
is good.
But see, my job, I don't get Monday off. I have to work because
Boo.
I am an essential employee, apparently.
I'm not very essential at all, so I get the day off.
All right.
Yeah. So, why don't we get into some Star Trek news?
Okay.
I didn't know what was going on.
After a 2.5-year hiatus, the fan production Star Trek The Continuing Mission is returning with a new episode. The 8th episode of the series, Cathedral in the Void, will debut next month.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Now, have you seen this fan production, Eric?
Not a single one of them.
Neither have I, and they're on number 8. So
Maybe we should get cracking.
There are a ton of fan productions out there.
there are way more than I remembered.
It's hard to keep up with them.
Right, and the production values are going up and up. So,
well, I'm looking forward to this one.
You know
Sounds
what?
cool.
Maybe we should make one.
Nope. Bad idea.
well, we can green screen. Just
Exactly.
green screen.
Oh yeah. That'd be
Wait,
classic.
didn't you guys want to do that like Star Trek podcast like?
Oh,
in the...
like, this is a podcast.
No, not
this is
the.
what we wanted to do.
Oh my god!
You mean that audio drama that we were?
Yes, the audio drama. Whatever happened to that?
I don't know.
Well, like all good things. Moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. Saturday Night Live skit from April 5th included an appearance of Captain Picard, portrayed by Kyle Mooney.
Yes, not the same Kyle Mooney of the Four-Eyed Radio Network, but a different Kyle Mooney.
I wanted the real Kyle Mooney from the Four-Eyed Radio Network. I wanted him to be Picard.
That's what I thought of at first when I read this, and I was like, what? Wait a minute.
So, in this skit, there was a bunch of French references, and everyone's speaking French, and then, Captain Picard comes out, and I think he speaks English, which is funny, I guess. I don't know. I kind of just skimmed over the sketch. I was like, oh, this sketch is kind of... SNL sketches are hit and miss.
Very hit or miss.
So, but hey, Star Trek was in Saturday Night Live, so that was cool.
I actually saw another Saturday Night Live skit from a couple Saturdays ago, and I think you can find it on Hulu. But there was another Star Trek skit where they were doing a Star Trek parody. It was when Louis C.K. guest starred.
Yeah, it was...
And he played an alien that liked shirtless men pictures on his bridge.
Yeah, it was.
And
it was funny.
They're all kind of confused, why does he have shirtless men posters?
It was. I think it was a deleted sketch.
Oh, okay.
But I watched it on Hulu as well, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was really funny. They got all of the Star Trek tropes right.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty good. And Louis C.K. he looked kind of like a Klingon, but with different hands.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and they gave the starship their own picture, which was
that was hilarious.
Yeah, half naked picture.
I actually didn't get to see it. Not
it's
yet.
It's funny. You should check it out.
I shall.
Next, in the summer of 2016, in time for Star Trek's 50th anniversary, the original model Enterprise that is currently at the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum will have a new home within the museum at the Boeing Milestones of Flight Hall.
Wow.
This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Smithsonian, but I think I will go maybe in 2016.
I walked by the Smithsonian.
So you didn't go inside.
I didn't go inside, but I walked by it. Next we have Star Trek Live in Concert, which is coming to the United States of America.
America?
They'll be stopping in Texas, California, Pennsylvania, with more cities to be announced soon. And this went over well in the UK last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we even talked about it on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally glad that this is coming over here because I would love to see this in Chicago. That would be amazing.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be
Or Boston.
Boston, because I'm not going to Chicago.
Well, you never know.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
I actually have family in Chicago.
Oh, you do?
Very, very, very distant cousins. It's on my mom's side.
So we can just crash on that couch, then.
Sure.
Okay.
From Michael and Denise Akuta's Facebook page, not many folks remember that Ailea's theme, composed by the great Jerry Goldsmith for Star Trek the Motion Picture, actually had lyrics. Singer Raya Yarbrough has done a new recording of the song, and Mark Banning of BSX Music has put together a nifty music video.
In that video, a link is in the show notes if you guys want to take a look at it. And I had no idea that this song had lyrics.
Neither did I.
Yeah. So, cool. Yeah, I listened to it. It, sounds nice.
It sounds like it's from the 70s. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's cool, I guess.
It's cool because when you think Star Trek, you never think lyrics except for Enterprise. Right. So, yeah, that was cool. And I've heard the odd recording of the original Star Trek theme with lyrics, which sounds really bad, but...
Yeah.
Moving on. Star Trek Timelines. A new game is in the works from Disruptor Beam. In Star Trek Timelines, you'll team up with your friends to explore the galaxy, resolve diplomatic conflicts, become embroiled in war, discover new civilizations, and research scientific breakthroughs, said Disruptor Beam CEO John Radolph.
I always like new Star Trek games, even though I never play them.
Yeah, same here. This will be available for iOS, Android, PC.
Oh, well, if it's for iOS, I might actually play it.
Yeah.
I actually might too, with my Samsung Galaxy.
Well, look at you.
Fancy schmancy.
True that. So, Boston native Leonard Nimoy will be receiving the Governor's Award from the Boston chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences in June.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. So that'll be cool. Leonard Nimoy's really been in our news feed lately.
Yeah, even though he doesn't do convention appearances anymore and is kind of done with Star Trek, he's getting out there, which is good.
Wow.
So,
Wow, indeed.
Speaking of WoW, word came out that Kate Mulgrew was the narrator of The Principle, a documentary claiming that the sun revolves around the Earth. Through her Facebook account, she claims that she was misled about the true nature of the film. An excerpt from her statement says, "I was a voice for hire, and a misinformed one at that. I apologize for any confusion that my voice on this trailer may have caused." I remember seeing this on Facebook, and a lot of people were like, "What is Kate Mulgrew smoking?" But but apparently, yeah, she was misled about the trailer, and I guess they cut what she said differently to make it sound like the opposing view. Right. So, yeah, I mean, she played one of the greatest scientific captains in Star Trek, and I don't think she would ever believe that herself as an actress or a person.
Right. And they actually took actual scientists, like real scientists, and
they did the same thing.
They edited video to make it sound like it was going on their side, saying things like, "Oh, we don't really know the nature of the universe," and taking it out of context.
That's horrible.
That's crazy.
And I remember reading, I forget which person it was, but he said, "I never remember doing that interview. They may have, bought the clip from an agency and just used, stock footage to make their point."
So no one watch or support this documentary?
No, I did go on their website, though. And I watched the trailer. I was like, oh, this is edited very well.
But that sucks, though.
It does.
Just saying.
Yeah, and they have weird videos that they have posted to support their claim, showing the gravity wells and switching it from having the sun in the center to having the Earth in the center.
Yeah.
And they're claiming that having the Earth in the center, I guess, stabilizes the wobble. I don't really know what they're trying to get at.
I don't know.
Besides, screwing with people.
Yeah. So the next thing, Star Trek Horizons set to premiere at the end of this year as a fan production set in the Star Trek Enterprise era during the Romulan War. The coalition of planets, a young alliance of worlds led by Earth, is at war with Romulan Empire. Desperate for a chance to gain the upper hand in the war, the coalition forms an alliance with Tamar, a Romulan deserter.
He really likes desserts.
In the hopes that she can provide valuable intelligence on her former masters.
Dun dun dun! I am excited for anything that takes place during the Romulan War and is related to Enterprise.
Yeah, this looks really good, actually. It's set to come out the winter of this year.
The effects look really good, at least that are on their site.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't heard of this much sooner.
There's a lot of stuff coming out.
Yeah. I guess it's a good time to be a Trekkie.
I was just going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth.
True that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, would you buy it? First of all, would you buy this, Aaron?
I would be very, very tempted to purchase this item.
Well, since I have the first edition of this book, I actually have it. Let me get it. It's right here. I actually have the first edition.
Oh,
right
very
here.
nice.
So what we're talking about is the new updated edition of the upcoming hardcover Star Trek Ships of the Line 2014 edition, which will celebrate Trek with an updated edition of the acclaimed Ships of the Line hardcover book. The original book, published in 2006, featured images from all of the Ships of the Line calendars at the time, while the 2014 edition will include all the previous images and every image created for the Ships of the Line calendars since the original book's release.
Holy moly.
It's amazing.
So
that
it'll be
means
double the size of...
It will be double the size.
Nice.
Bum, bum, bum.
That means that the new Star Trek Ships of the Line edition will boast more than 75 new images, with all of the images brought together for the first time in book format and complemented with text by Star Trek's own Michael Okuda. Star Trek Ships of the Line 2014 edition is edited by Star Trek effects master Doug Drexler and Margaret Clark of Pocket Books, and features text by Michael Okuda. It will be available October 28th for $30 in the U.S. and $36 in Canada. And I am pre-ordering the heck out of this.
Nice.
Because I collect the Star Trek Ships of the Line calendars,
Oh, you do?
but I've actually missed a couple of years.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to get the calendars. So it's great because now I'll have all of the images, which is what I buy the calendars for anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. And it's cool because in the original book, not only did they have the pictures, as you can see,
Nice. Yes.
but they also told kind of like a mini story about what the picture represents. And I'm really looking forward to the new version.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do they have... I'm not sure if it would be in that book you have, the first edition, but the Enterprise J?
I believe the Enterprise J is one of the images in this book.
Okay.
Like they have the armored Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of Voyager actually. They broke it down into chapters, and I guess each chapter was either a ship or a particular calendar. So they have a lot in here, and I'm really looking forward to see the new version.
Awesome. I can't believe it came out, the first one came out in 2006. That seems like so long ago.
Well, yeah, the first book came out in 2006, but the Ships of the Line calendar has been going since 2001.
Oh, wow, that's even longer. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I have pretty much all of them up until 2010, and then I just have a few scattering here and there just because I missed out on a couple. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice.
I'm excited.
That's cool.
Because I'm a big Star Trek like ship nerd.
Oh,
so
I think
this book is perfect for me.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a common thread with Trekkies, but I feel like every Trekkie really likes ships and uniforms. I'm big on uniforms and guns and ships.
Because you're a man.
Yeah.
I like guns and ships and yeah. All right.
And hypo sprays.
I love those hypo sprays.
I like the communicators.
All right. Now we're just going crazy, all right?
All right.
All right, so let's jump into the topic of the show, which is the Gorn. So the Gorn are a warp-capable, bipedal reptilian species.
Ooh.
What?
Scary.
Dun dun dun. So, we first encounter the Gorn in the original series episode Arena. Starfleet's first encounter with the Gorn was deadly. The Gorn destroyed the Federation colony on Cestus III. The Gorn believed the Federation colony was invading their territory, and their attack was a preemptive strike. The Enterprise 1701 pursued the Gorn ship to an unknown area of space where they were immobilized by a race calling themselves the Metrons. The Metrons placed the captains of the two ships on the surface of a planet where they were instructed to settle their differences in combat, only using intellect and objects found on the planet's surface. Kirk constructed a makeshift cannon to defeat the Gorn, but Kirk showed the Gorn mercy and allowed him to live. The Metrons did not expect Kirk to show mercy, so the Metrons allowed both captains to live and sent them back unharmed.
Holy mackerel.
It is such a good episode.
I should probably watch that.
Yeah, it's intense. It's an intense episode.
Right. So I watched this last night, this episode, and you can tell the rocks that they're hurling at each other.
That's the worst part. It's something that me and my dad always joked about, because the Gorn kind of throws it forward, and all of a sudden it goes pew and like goes up and where Kirk is on a big cliff.
Yeah.
So it's like the rock goes whoop, whoosh.
And like
it's completely ridiculous.
The like struggles like that Kirk is doing, you can tell that he's obviously he's acting, overly acting, trying to get this boulder up and off the cliff as it bounces down into the Gorn.
Oh.
And the rocks are the wrong colors that they have. They're not the right color for the rest of the rocks in the area.
Of course. It's it's styrofoam. What do you expect?
Yeah. But the Gorn Captain, he was green in color with thick rubbery skin with reflective eyes. And I discovered last night rewatching this episode, rewatching the remastered version of the episode, they added blinking eyelids.
It's crazy.
It is. It takes you off guard, especially when you're not expecting it at first, because they're just these like fucking huge,
big crystal eyes.
Yeah, and his mouth doesn't really move or anything, and he's like so stiff when he's walking.
It's just like,
and all of a sudden he blinks. And I'm like, whoa! So that was interesting, and I was glad to see that they didn't overuse the blinking, because it could have been
pretty bad.
If
what I want to see is the Gorn Captain wink at Kirk like a.
Hey, big fella. I'm a female.
Oh, gross.
No.
All of a sudden, it becomes a whole different story.
Oh,
a whole different Star Trek.
Although the animated series is largely considered not canon, they did have an appearance of the Gorn in the episode The Time Trap. The unnamed Gorn in the episode is very similar in appearance to the Gorn seen in Arena. The Gorn was serving on the Elysian Council on Elysia. Elysia is a small alternative universe in a parallel time continuum that periodically touch the Prime Universe in the Delta Triangle region of the galaxy.
Cool. That's the region you need to avoid.
Yes. This is an episode I need to watch because I have not completed my viewing of the animated series.
Oh, yes.
And I had no idea that there was a Gorn in the animated series.
Right. He doesn't play a major role.
But at least you see one.
You see one. The coloring of the Gorn is pretty similar to the original series Gorn, which in the anime series you get some wide ranges of colors.
Oh, yeah.
So that was good. The Gorn was green, so it wasn't pink.
Purple,
so,
yeah.
Right.
The next one is probably my favorite on-screen appearance of the Gorn.
Right.
And we are talking about Enterprise in a Mirror Darkly, Part 2. Part 2. We find out, like most cold-blooded life forms, the Gorn are known to prefer warm temperatures. In this episode, the Gorn was the slave master for the Tholians, which had taken over our universe's Defiant.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone on the ship, all the slave labor on the ship that was working there for the Tholians, were scared of this Gorn because he was ruthless. I believe his name was like Sklar or something like that. It was very like snake-like.
Yeah, I gotcha.
In a different episode, the Gorn are mentioned. According to the Orion privateer Harad Sar in 2154, the Gorn brew the finest Mirador in the 5 systems. So I guess it's a Gorn drink. And that was from the episode Bound.
Interesting.
I don't recall that reference at all.
But the Gorn in A Mirror Darkly was completely CGI.
Right. And definitely looked more reptilian than in the original series.
Yeah, he actually had a large tail. He looked more like almost an alligator. But I like that they kept his silvery eyes, and they kept all of the design elements, but made it more realistic, I guess.
Right.
And it was a pretty intense fight scene that they had with the Gorn. And the Mirror Universe Archer is able to trick him and lure him into a variable gravity area of the ship, where they increase the gravity, I think, 20 times.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of like forced the Gorn to basically collapse on the floor because the gravity was so strong.
Right.
Interesting.
It takes a lot to take down a Gorn.
I imagine so. Well, we saw how difficult a job it was for Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, he threw boulders.
He did his Kirk hand-to-hand moves.
Oh yeah, he like
Kirk Fu.
did the double
fist.
Double
He did
fist
the
to the
double fist.
head.
Oh
And
yeah.
The Gorn let him go after that. He's like, whoa, and then Kirk ran away.
I think it stunned the Gorn.
Yeah.
I would be stunned too if Kirk did that to me. I'd be like, "Whoa, these moves are crazy."
Whoa. Calm down. I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was gonna happen.
Those are the only times we see the Gorn in the show.
Right.
Which is sad. I like the Gorn.
Right. Especially since Arena is so iconic.
Yes.
And it's a scene that, is shown over and over again in other movies and shows, such as, I believe, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because that was filmed in the same area that they used, the Vasquez Rocks.
Right.
So that's kind of like a homage to it.
Indeed. It's weird. I don't remember them mentioning them in The Next Generation at all. But
no, there's no mentions. Huh?
Or Deep Space Nine. I feel like that would have been the perfect opportunity.
But they did mention the Gorn in Deep Space Nine a couple times. Yeah,
okay.
I believe they did, especially during the whole Dominion War thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know there was mention of the Gorn hegemony, which is their, I guess, what they're called. Instead of the Klingon Empire, it's the Gorn hegemony, which is like their confederacy or whatever. So, But where have the Gorn been seen in other places?
So, in the Star Trek the video game, which came out last year,
which we still need to finish.
So, believe it or not, this game is considered canon, okay?
Yeah.
So,
I really don't feel that great about that, but whatever.
So the Gorn are the villains in the 2013 Star Trek game set before Star Trek Into Darkness. Now, in the game, they featured 15 different varieties of male and female Gorn, and they ranged in size.
Hello, ladies.
Hello. They ranged in size, intellect, and color, and they were designed by Neville Page. They are depicted as originating from see, this part I really don't like. They're depicted as originating from another galaxy, which they have conquered by the time they reach the Milky Way galaxy via a wormhole created by the terraforming device on New Vulcan. So the Gorn utilized a mind-controlling venom to turn enemies on each other, practiced bioenhancement.
Unlike regular reptiles, the Gorn don't lay eggs. They give live birth.
Right.
Which would make sense for like a humanoid species, as advanced intelligently.
Right. McCoy mentioned, he does mention that in Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I had to give birth to Gorn babies.
Birth.
Or, no. he made them.
He did a cesarean.
He delivered them.
Yeah.
Hello, big fella.
That's
Oh no, Gorn babies!
Not just one, but many.
Right. And there have been other video game appearances by the Gorn. There exists certain groups within the hegemony, which include King's Fleet Guard, Guardians Errant, and Defenders of the Egg.
What?
Which probably goes against what we just said.
Right, but this was from an old game.
Right, the TOS video game Starfleet Command, which I really enjoyed. The Starfleet Command game series.
I did not play that.
Oh, it's a must.
Or did I? Hold on. Starfleet Command.
Do you have Starfleet?
Oh, see, the versions of the game don't work on newer systems. The game
of course they don't.
The game
Starfleet Command. I've played this.
Right, it's a it's not real-time strategy, but
it's like a space flight real-time simulator.
Right, you have to allocate system energies and
oh yeah, I totally remember this game.
Fields.
This is a good one.
Yeah. The Starfleet Command 3, which used TNG aeroships, I believe, I lent out to a friend, and
never got it back.
Yeah, the disc. I got one of the discs back, I believe, and the other disc vanished, and now I can't find it anywhere, so it makes me sad.
Boo.
Aww.
Yeah.
So, according to the Star Trek original series video game Starfleet Command, which we just talked about, Gorn mythology states that the founders of their species consists of the mistress of the fertility Shahyaza and a figure known as the Great Father. Emphasis would be placed on the Great Egg Bringer Shahyaza, for she saved the young Gorn eggs from being devoured by their father. The Great Father would be banished into space and never be worshipped again. Among Gorn, there exists a scale coloration, which is blue-yellowish. These Gorn are believed to be protected by the Mistress of Fertility, for they are nobles and spiritually pure. Those hereditary families that have a large number of blue-yellow scaled Gorn are considered blessed with a symbol of Gorn strength. Very interesting.
See, I like that better than Star Trek, the video game.
I do too.
So the next thing is from Starfleet Command 2.
2?
Gorn ships are created to reflect attitude of the Gorn race, which is straightforward and to the point.
Oh, a little sidetrack. We never
a sidetrack.
Oh, snap! We never see in canon a Gorn ship, except in the remastered episode. You can faintly see off in the distance. You can't make out any real detail except for the fact that there are two nacelles and then a main body. Unfortunately, because someone did create a Gorn ship, but the model was never textured. So
Right, so it was meant to be seen far away.
Yeah, which I think is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a shame. So I guess all we have to go on for ships is from these video games.
Right. So next from Star Trek Starfleet Command 2, the Gorn race was actually 3 species who were genetically identical and lived on 3 separate worlds. After they achieved space travel, the 3 Gorn races discovered one another and learned of their similarity, whereupon it was discovered through fossil records that none of their planets was their race's true homeworld. Seeing the similarity, the 3 races joined one another in a single political unit.
That's interesting. I like that backstory a lot better than what the Star Trek game gave us.
Yeah, and it actually reminds me of that episode of Voyager.
With the Hoth, or God, what do they call them? Not the Hoth. I'm thinking of
They
Star
were
Wars.
advanced dinosaurs.
Yes, it does remind me of that they came from Earth.
Right.
And they had to use the fossil records, and they didn't know where they were from. Yeah, it definitely reminds me of that.
Imagine
The Voth. The Voth? I think it's the Voth, not Hoth. Hoth is on Star Wars.
Wrong podcast.
Yes, it is the Voth.
Okay, yes. And that was an interesting storyline.
It was.
But imagine if the Gorn originated, if we were going with this backstory, if they originated from Earth.
No.
And they were...
That would be crazy.
Yeah, and they were like the Voth.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Man, we should be writing for Star Trek.
We should, because, I mean, the dinosaurs were 65 million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? That's a long time to evolve and develop space travel.
Yeah, longer than we've been around.
Exactly.
So.
Next, we move on to the novels. All of this information is from Memory Beta, which is Memory Alpha's sister site. And Memory Beta is devoted to the novels and games and stuff that's not necessarily considered canon. Mm-hmm. So first, executions on Gorn starships are carried out by spacing. That is from the Star Trek Titan novel, Seize the Fire.
I would infer that means you just throw them out of an airlock.
Yeah, so that they just throw them out of an airlock to execute them. Yeah. It's effective. Like, what are you going to do with the body?
Yeah.
It's just going to go down from there.
Flush them down the toilet?
Exactly.
Yes!
So the Gorn are born from specialized eggs that belong to different castes of Gorn society, which goes against what we learned from canonized Star Trek.
But it is in line with the Starfleet Command video games.
Indeed it is. Among the hardest to produce eggs were those of the military branches, as their biology required specific environmental factors that were very hard to find naturally. And that comes from the...
all of these come from the Titan novel, Seize the Fire.
Novels, yes. So, and that goes with, like, reptile eggs on Earth. Like, different temperatures produce different sexes of reptiles, I believe, in certain species.
Yeah, I have heard of that.
Wow. I heard of it in Jurassic Park. Actually, I did hear about it in Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park for all your scientific reptile needs.
Woohoo! Those technical casts have multiple stomachs.
Well, they got to get all technical and eat a lot, I guess. I have no idea.
Okay.
Next, we move into the comics. Some individual Gorn get the creeps when around some mammals, just like humans. So we kind of get the creeps around mice or that kind of a thing. Well, the Gorn are that way as well. And we learn about that from the Star Trek Alien Spotlight comic, The Gorn.
Gorn cells regenerate at an amazing rate. The Gorn laser scalpel has a biograph spray option that would assist in the regeneration and the closing of wounds. And that comes from the Star Trek Alien Spotlight comic, The Gorn. Whoa, yeah, The Gorn.
Next, we have the Gorn had achieved
interstellar propulsion technology.
As early
Warp drive.
What?
Warp drive.
Warp drive.
Cool. As early as 500,000 BC, when they established Funeral World on the planet. What?
Cenotaph.
Cool. And that is from that is from the TOS comic Dying of the Light.
The next one is a Next Generation comic that I have, and I highly recommend this comic. You can find it in a serialized hardcover book, and it's awesome. It's a really good story. And that's the TNG comic, The Gorn Crisis. So in 2374, which I believe is shortly after First Contact, the movie, after decades of peaceful relations with the Federation, the Gorn government was toppled by a coup d'etat, and a new offensive was launched against Cestus III. A halt to these hostilities was negotiated by the crew of the USS Enterprise E, who also managed to persuade the Gorn to join the Federation alliance in the war against the Dominion.
Yeah, that does sound like a good comic.
It's excellent. I highly recommend it.
Have to get my hands on that. So next we have RPG/reference books. So the first one here, the Gorn State, was the Gorn hegemony. That comes from the Star Trek reference, The Worlds of the Federation.
I have that book.
Oh, snap.
And that is a good book. It's a real good book. It talks about their planet and their biological functions, and it's pretty cool.
So of multiple worlds?
Yes, there's it doesn't just cover some worlds of the Federation. It also covers like enemy species. And it's an older reference book, but I really love the illustrations in it. Okay. They kind of do like a front profile of the species and like a side profile, and they show the like a drawing of what their world looks like. It's pretty cool.
That sounds cool. It does sound cool.
Next, Usagrisser is a concept of manifest destiny, which is one of the basic tenets of Gorn philosophy. It combined with Gessi Grisker to form the baseline of Gorn honor, and that's from the FASA RPG module Demand of Honor.
Oh.
And there are plenty of other RPG and reference books out there. I know I've got one it's literally a whole book all about Andorians.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the RPG books, if you can find them, they're usually from a company called The Last Unicorn, and they give a lot of good insight into alien races and technology, and it's to help people who do role-playing games, whether online or kind of like a World of Warcraft. No, not World of Warcraft, like Dungeons and Dragons, but think Star Trek.
Okay.
So there are several role-playing books, and I really like them because they help expand the universe.
Mm-hmm. So these books help you just get into character.
They help you get into character. They give you backstory on technology and different races, and they also give you story ideas. It's pretty cool. It is really cool. It's a lot of fun.
So do they have something like just only on the Gorn?
No, they don't. But I guess, I don't know, I think this FASA, that's a different kind of role-playing game type that you can play. So I guess they have certain of these RPG modules which talk about certain species. And I think that's where this bullet point comes from.
Very cool, very cool.
And like we said, there was so little screen time of the Gorn.
Yeah, a lot of this had to be made up.
Yeah.
I want to see more Gorn. I would love to see how they tackle the Gorn in maybe the J.J. Abrams verse.
Because we know they exist because the video game.
Exactly.
So,
and I would love to see the Gorn from the video game in live action. I think that would be amazing.
It would definitely be a way to bridge the two together.
Right.
Because you just have that fleeting line from McCoy saying that he, delivered some live Gorn babies.
Right.
and that's it. There's no other real connection to this like pretty significant mission within the video game.
Yeah, well, the enemies of the entire video game are the Gorn.
Right.
They're pretty much the people that you're fighting throughout the entire game. So, I don't know. I want to see more Gorn, whether it's in canon or comics or whatever.
They sound very, very interesting.
You need to watch Arena tonight.
Yeah, I probably might. Maybe.
You probably won't, but you should.
For the blinking alone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it for the blinking. Wow.
I tell you, like, you're not expecting it, and then all of a sudden, blink.
It's like bloop.
So moving on to our next section of the show, the subspace channels. And this week we asked, how would you defeat the Gorn in the classic TOS episode Arena?
Dun dun dun.
I
I don't have an answer for that, but I'll have to think of one.
Carry a big phaser cannon.
Right.
That's how I would do it.
Just do it with your bare hands.
Yeah, I'm not going hand to hand with the Gorn.
No.
I actually kind of like living.
Yeah, they have
I like my life.
Muscle mass. So it wouldn't be recommended, hand-to-hand combat. Like Eric said, a phaser cannon, maybe some antimatter charges might be useful.
Or how about fire all phasers?
Fire all phasers.
Fire all.
Fire every single phaser you've got at the Gorn.
Exactly,
So let's see what the people said. From Twitter, our only answer from Twitter is from @StarTrekRiza, who said, "Do you not use Kirk Fu?"
Wink face?
Wink face. Yeah. It worked once, right?
Yeah, once. I don't think that's going to happen again.
You're right. I'm sure they've mastered a counter maneuver.
A counter maneuver? Yeah, it's called biting the person in the face. That's a counter maneuver.
How massive his jaw is. Why did he bite his arm?
I think Mirror Universe Phlox mentioned in that Mirror Darkly episode that they have the bite force similar to that of a Earth alligator. And alligators have the biting pressure, it's like a ton of biting pressure.
Right.
Literally 2,000 pounds. So a Gorn could literally bite your arm off.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That would be my go-to move if I was a Gorn.
Just bite people's arms off.
Yeah.
Nom.
Nom nom nom.
So moving on to Google Plus, we have our good friend Clive Burrell, who says, "Walk very quickly."
Was that the shortest answer we've ever got from Clive?
Actually, yeah.
I love you, Clive. You're awesome. But that was the most succinct answer we've ever got from him.
Yeah.
So just walk away quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty straight to the point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clive.
Thanks, Clive. Michael Schmidt said, "I would have started by constructing some sort of rudimentary lathe."
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Steve R. says, "Smack him on the ears."
Which Kirk did.
It worked for Kirk.
Yeah.
But would it work a second time?
Yeah, sure.
Why not?
Next, we have Joseph, who says, "Justin Bieber music. No, sorry. We don't want to torture him. Just kill him."
I don't know. I think Justin Bieber music kills me a little inside every time I hear it.
Baby, baby.
Nope. Shut the hell up. Robert Hader says, "Waited till night when lizard metabolic rate slows down. Then drop a big rock on him and repeat."
And keep repeating.
Yeah, keep repeating, dropping heavy rocks on the sleeping Gorn.
Right. Kirk did it. It didn't seem to really hurt him all too much. So,
Yeah.
just saying.
And last answer is from Robert Huswick, who says, I would have kept going with the gunpowder thing that Kirk was trying.
Right.
Yes.
So within the episode, like we said, Kirk makes a rudimentary cannon by taking different components to make gunpowder. He finds diamonds, like these huge diamonds,
Yes.
shoves them into the cannon, fires the cannon, and then shards of diamonds penetrate the tough, rubbery husk of the Gorn skin.
Wow, that was so descriptive and awesome.
I was trying there.
That was really good. So, what puts your quantum state into flux, Aaron?
So this week, my quantum state of flux is caused by the creation of multiple Gorn classes and making them a species from another galaxy in the Star Trek the video game, which seems a little much for my tastes. The only reason the Gorn make it to the Milky Way galaxy in the game is due to a terraforming device at New Vulcan that created a wormhole. How did this species make it to the Milky Way galaxy in the Prime Universe? Brian Miller, the senior vice president of Paramount Pictures and producer of the game, said that the events of the game are canon. So somehow the Gorn made it into our home galaxy in both universes by some kind of random anomaly. That seems highly unlikely to me.
And to me, I completely agree with this.
Mm.
I like to think that the games are not canon. I mean, let's go with Paramount, what they've said for years, that what we see on screen is what is represented. And we talked about this before, the fact that they deemed it canon, a video game, was a complete first for this franchise. So, what about making the books canon? Because the books have a very awesome ongoing storyline. What about that? Then you would have the novels contradicting this video game. So I agree. This quantums my flux quite a bit.
Yeah, I would like to think that the Gorn are from our home galaxy.
Yeah.
Given the fact that we hear about them in Enterprise, then we see them in A Mirror Darkly. Granted, it's a parallel universe, but they're in our galaxy.
Yeah, and Enterprise predates the alternate timeline.
Right, exactly.
So the Gorn are already here.
Right.
And they're already working with other Alpha Quadrant species like the Tholians. So, there you go.
Yeah. Take that, JJ.
Take that, JJ.
It's not JJ's fault.
No. Take that, Brian Miller, Senior Vice President of Paramount Pictures and producer of the game.
What were you thinking?
Good God.
Good God.
Or,
Boy.
you know, maybe they could classify this to kind of bring it full circle. Maybe the species in the game was one of the 3 different Gorn species, like in our previous. Maybe they were from another galaxy, because if they developed interstellar flight 500,000 years ago, that would be enough time for them to travel to another galaxy and come back. Even with warp drive, through generational ships. I can connect anything.
Yeah, that could work. I would hope that they would have developed some faster form of travel. But they were very, very fast in the TOS episode Arena. That the Enterprise were pushing their engines to try to overtake them.
And I loved that fact because it shows that the Gorn have been around for a long time and they've perfected their technology to the point where high warp speeds, it means nothing to them.
Mm-hmm. Right. And they actually seemed more powerful than Starfleet. Their weapons seemed more powerful. They were faster. And our weapon systems didn't seem to damage their shields at all.
Right. So they could be a huge threat.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't try to take over the Federation.
Well, maybe it's just that they're very territorial and they just like to stick to their home systems. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it could be that they don't, that they're
Branch
not
out.
an empire that expands.
Right.
So yeah, good point.
And the fact that the comic book, at least in the Gorn Crisis, it seems like the Gorn and the humans were able to, have a peace. They had a truce. And I think a lot of that was due to the original series episode Arena with the Metrons, which basically told them, hey, we let both of you go. So maybe there's that mutual understanding that was there.
Right. Good point.
I love the Gorn. I think they're a fascinating species, and I just wish we had more of them in the show.
Yeah, definitely we need more canon references to the Gorn.
Indeed.
Maybe the next movie that comes out will feature the Gorn?
I doubt it, but what I would like to see is a Gorn presence in a TV show.
Yes. That would be interesting if they somehow did kind of like what happened with Worf, where Worf was kind of like a species exchange and he became the first, Klingon in Starfleet. I would like to see a Gorn in Starfleet.
That'd be interesting to see.
Actually, I did, to go off topic, I wanted to create my own Star Trek comic book back in high school with its own ship, and I designed a whole ship and all this stuff. And I wanted to make the ship, and this was way before Star Trek tie-in novels came out.
Okay.
And my idea was to have a ship that had the most diverse crew in the Federation. So it had the most alien species on the ship. Mm-hmm. And one of the crew members I created was a Gorn. And in Star Trek tie-in, they have the most diverse alien species ship in the Federation.
Wow.
So, yeah. It's like someone read my mind and said, that would make a great idea.
You never posted that anywhere, did you?
I didn't, because that was back in high school.
That's the Gorn. Thank you all for listening. I think this was a good summary of the species.
We should do more alien spotlights.
We should. Definitely.
And people, let us know what species you want us to talk about.
Yeah, do you have a favorite species? There's plenty to choose from, like Eric's Andorians.
Yeah, that's my absolute favorite. Thank you for remembering. That's very
Vulcan.
touching.
I like Vulcan.
Ashley likes Vulcan. What was that, Eric?
I said thank you for remembering. That's very touching.
Oh, yes, no problem.
Well, you like Vulcans too, Aaron.
I do like Vulcans.
He kind of looks like one with his pointy ears.
Indeed.
Ha ha!
And the eyebrow raise.
Yes.
Yes, and Leonard Nimoy, a Boston...
Bostonian?
Blah, blue, blip, blip. He's originally from Boston. I don't know if that makes some kind of connection.
It does.
It does. So I like Vulcans. I like other species as well.
My other
You know what? Vulcans like you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next time, I'm Aaron. You can find me at Nova Charter on Twitter.
I'm Ashley, and you can find me at LilCuteGirl86. That's LIL cute CUTEGIRL.
86 on Twitter.
Yes, on Twitter.
WI. I'm Eric, also known as TrekkieB47 on Twitter. I'm not going to spell it out.
Little in the front of her
Yeah, I know.
handle might get people caught up. Keep on trekking. We'll see you next time.
Woohoo!
Aw, yeah.
Not enough woohoos in this episode.
No.
Woo! Let's make up for it now. Woo woo!
Woo!
Trichosaurus Rex.
Trichosaurus by Riker's beard.
By Riker's beard, I stab at thee.
You have been listening to the Starfleet Escape Podcast on the Four-Eyed Radio Network, where you can catch a new episode every other Monday. You can find us on the web at sfescapepod.com. Follow us on Twitter at sfescapepod. Like us on Facebook.com/sfescapepod. And add us to your circle on Google+. by going to google.sfescapepod.com.
This has been another great presentation of the Four-Eyed Radio Network. You can catch more shows at foureyedradio.com.